Hey, I'm Coach Michael Burt, the Super Coach. Just text Coach Burt to this number or that number to get weekly updates, where I'm going to be coaching, and strategies for you to play at a much higher frequency. All right, as you come on the call, if you want to just make sure you're muted, or if you're unmuted, we'll just make sure there's not any background. We don't want to distract anybody. And I will be calling on some folks this morning. Bobby B, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Coach.
Ready to close some business today?
Yes, sir. Every day I come in ready to do that.
Every day in every way, we're getting better and better. That's what I tell people. Every day in every way, we're getting better and better, guys. Let's get this party started, guys. Hope you're having a great Friday. It's a new month. I want to bring some context to this month because, you know, number one, you guys don't know this, but I have a new son. I have a 1-week-old son named Elias Michael, and he looks just like me and my grandfather, which I think is interesting. And he's
congrats.
Congratulations.
He's already got some talents. He eats, he sleeps, and he poops. That's the only 3 things he does right now. Okay, but he's good. He's good at those 3 things. Every now and then he cries when he wants some food. Now here's what I want to put into context. You guys know I was a former championship women's basketball coach, and one of the things I learned by being a basketball coach was how to shift gears. And one of the things I learned as a basketball coach was that life and winning is about momentum. Momentum is energy headed in a direction. Okay, it's all it is. It's energy. And I learned that I could start good, come out of the gate strong, and then somewhere kind of get a little bit lazy or complacent, quit doing what we did to be successful, and very quickly I could lose momentum. And I could start strong and finish bad, right? And matter of fact, one of the times that I was the most scared as a basketball coach is when we come out of the gates out on fire, we get up 17 or 18 points, and then my players would just kind of do this right here. And then the other team would come back. Then there's all this stress, and then there was tension, and then maybe we won and we'd win. I'd say, why didn't we just find another gear, man, when we were winning? Why did we have to go through all that pressure and stress? And then there was times I'd start out of the gates really bad, have bad momentum, get going down the road, and then we'd have to exert all this energy to come back and win in the end when we were very clearly better than other people. And I was like, why did we start so bad and finish strong? So then I started coaching salespeople. And guess what I saw? I saw the exact same thing. I'd see people come out of the gate strong, and then they'd fizzle out. Then they have a good month, and then they'd have a bad month, and then they'd get a little complacent. Then they'd get mad. Then they'd push hard. Then they'd make sales. Then they'd work the system, and it created all of this stress. And I actually had a real estate agent tell me once that I was coaching. He said, "Coach, let me tell me what you think about my strategy." He said, "Well, I have a good month, and then I get lazy." He said, "Then I have a lake. Then I go to the lake, right?" He said, "Then I go to the lake, goof off. Then I have a bad month, Coach, and then I get real mad, and then I get back in there and have a good month again." Now, what do you think? What do you think, Coach, about that strategy? And I said, do I have permission to be honest with you? And he said, "Yeah, absolutely. You're my coach." And I said, "I think that's the dumbest strategy I have ever heard in my life." You shouldn't have to have a bad month, get mad to have a good month. Everybody see what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. So, but this is how we operate, guys, is that we have a good month and we get a little lazy, or we have a good day and we get a little lazy. We have a good month. And here's what I see by coaching thousands of people a month is that about mid-year, most people start. It's because of our school schedule. I think we most of us grew up. I grew up where we were off in the summers. How many of y'all grew up like that, where you went to school and you were off in the summers? And what it does is it kind of trains our brain over all those years that summertime is a break. Summertime is a time off. Summertime is, man, the sun's shining. It's pretty outside. Let's I don't push as hard as I normally do because, man, it's summertime. Well, we were trained. I want you to understand, we were trained that way for 12 or 13 years growing up. Like, my daughter's in summertime right now, so she don't want to read. She don't want to do any work. She wants to swim every day. She wants to play every day. And I'm like, but she's not, my 7-year-old daughter's not a very good reader. She's good at math and she's good at science. And I'm like, and my wife said, well, we should hire a tutor for her. And I said, no, what we should do is sit down with her every night and force her to read, because you get better when you practice. Everybody see that? Mm-hmm. But as soon as I say, sweetheart, tonight we're going to sit down and read, what's the first thing she says to me? Dad, it's summertime. Summertime. We take off in the summer. We're not in school, Daddy. She's already 7 years old thinking like that. Well, that's what happens to us in the business world, is we get to the summer and we've been going for 6 months. Some of us have had a good first 6 months. Some of us have had a mediocre 6 months. Some of us are hit our goals. Some of us are not hit our goals. And then we get to summertime and we're like, oh, it's time to take off, man. So what happens is we lose momentum. And then we got to recrank that momentum. So what I'm going to show you is how do I build momentum every day? Because this is important. How many of you have ever been on the wrong side of momentum? Raise your hand if you've ever been on the wrong side of momentum. Now, John Maxwell said something that I really like. He said, when you have momentum, it makes you think you're better than what you really are. When you don't have momentum, it actually makes you think you're worse than what you really are. Okay. So what I try to do is I try to build momentum every day. And it has a lot to do with what I do every day. How do I build sales momentum? So here's a couple mindsets that I have. Number one, nothing happens until something is sold. I don't give myself the privilege of doing anything until I sell something. Okay. Meaning I don't take a break until I sell something, until I've got my calls in. I don't give myself permission. So here's a couple controls I put on myself. Number one, I watch something spiritual every morning. I do not give myself permission to watch something on business until I've watched something spiritual to feed my faith. That makes sense? I give the first 10% of my day to the Lord. Okay. Now I end my day by watching a sermon. I give the last 10% of my day to the Lord, because that's where all the talent I have comes from. So I start my day by building momentum. Okay. Then I exercise. Okay. Get my body going. Cause let me tell you something. I woke up this morning tired. How many of y'all woke up tired this morning? I did. I've been pushing hard this week. I've been pushing hard the last 2 months, guys. And I woke up this morning tired. Plus I got a baby, right? My wife's feeding every 3 hours. It's waking up and crying, right? And I'm not getting the same kind of sleep. So I woke up tired. Okay. Now my mind and my body says, hey, it's Friday. Relax a little bit. Take a day off. My mind says, no. It's a new month. It's the 5th day of June. I need to hit my sales number. I'm going to get up, feed my spirit. I'm going to exercise. Then I'm going to listen to something on business, right? I'm going to listen to something on business. I'm going to listen to something on business. I'm going to get my mind thinking. I'm going to get my mind turning. And I listen to something on sales. And if you don't have anybody to listen to me in the morning on YouTube. Listen to my podcast. Let me get you cranked up, because you could get coached by me every day by listening to me on YouTube. I do shows every week. I do content every week. So I listen to something. Then I start my day, and I have a pattern to build momentum. At 8:30, I do this. From 9 to 11:30, I do this. 11:30, I eat lunch. 12:30 to 3, I eat. Everybody see that? And what I'm doing is I'm building momentum. Now, do you think if you called on me today to sell me some insurance that I could tell if you had a bunch of positive energy or low negative energy? You think I could tell, yes or no? It's hard to fake it, folks. So if you don't, I was trained by a Marine. I hired a Marine to be my personal trainer for about 4 years. And he made us work out at 5 a.m. in the morning. So I had to get up at 4:15, had to be there at 5. There was a few people at the gym. And we'd walk in and he'd say, good morning, ladies. It was all 4 men. He called us ladies. Good morning, ladies. Then he would say, here's what we're going to do today, folks. You got to get your mind ready for what your body is about to do. And I'd sit there and go, oh, Lord, he's going to work us. Like, I'm going to hate this dude. And he would work me, guys, and for an hour, and I hated it. And I'd leave there at 6 a.m. as people were getting up out of bed. And here's what I said in my mind. Here's what he'd leave us with this. You see all these folks rolling in at 6 a.m.? He said, you are going to run circles around those folks. And I would see those people coming in at 6, and I'd be like, look at that wimp coming in at 6. Look at them wimps coming in at 6. I already got my workout in. I would walk out of there with so much confidence and momentum, and the sun's coming up. And I'd ride home, and here's what I would say. I'd say, man, I'm about to dominate this day. I am absolutely going to dominate it. And guess what it had to do with? It was how I started my days. Now, let's contrast that with this. I roll out of bed. I sleep late. I stayed up too late. I roll out of bed. I don't eat a decent breakfast. I don't get any movement or momentum. I don't have any energy in my body. And then I get on the phones and I try to psych myself up to be good on the phones. How good do you think I'll be on my phones if I work my days like that? Now, raise your hand if your income's tied to how good you are on the phone. Now, let me ask you a question. I always like to say this, Kim. If I were to bring in the number one communicator, the number one telesales communicator in the world that sold the most insurance on planet Earth, what kind of momentum and energy do you think they would have every single phone call? And if I was in Houston with you and we were in that office and I were to bring that person up, male or female, and stand them right beside me, and then bring each one of you up and stand on the other side of me and ask a simple question. What is the difference between the number one person in the world and you? What do they have that you don't have? Do they have more energy? Do they have more knowledge? Do they have more skill? Do they have more desire? Do they have more confidence? Right? Like I used to talk about, I live in Nashville. I'm down in Nashville today. And I used to go to conferences and tell people, man, I'm going to go back and dominate Nashville. And one of my buddies that's done about 400 million or was worth about 400 million heard me say that one day. I said, man, I'm going to go back and dominate Nashville with what I learned. Here's what he said. He stopped me and he said, look, I don't ever want to hear you talk like that again. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, your market is planet Earth. You need to be measuring yourself versus the number one person on planet Earth, not the number one person in Nashville. Now, quit talking so small. He said, quit playing so small, quit talking so small, coach. It's making me sick. And that was one of my mentors. And when I argue with him, here's what he said. You want to be right or you want to be rich? Now, you tell me which one it's going to be. And I'd say, well, I want to be rich. And he'd say, well, then you need to shut up because you don't know what you're talking about. and you know what? I didn't always like how he talked to me, but boy, I sure did appreciate his honesty, because I'd get to going. He's produced, he's worth X number more than I am. And man, I would start going, well, I can't do it. I can't do this. And I can't do that. And he'd just say, look, I don't want to hear that come out of your mouth again. You want to be right or you want to be rich? You want to whine or you want to make money? He would just hit me like that. And I'd go, you know what? He's right. And I'm so glad he talked to me like that, because I needed to hear that every now and then. Yes or no? So I want to ask you guys, as we talk today, and as we talk about you, how are you building momentum? Have you lost any momentum? How are your close ratios? Because closing, to me, let me give you an example. In a given day, my salespeople make 80 phone calls a day. All right? 80 a day, 40 in the morning, 40 in the afternoon. They call from 9 to 11:30, take a break for lunch, and then they hit it back from 1 to, let's say, 4:30, straight on the phones. 80 phone calls all day long. Okay? Now, if I got them better at their close ratios, here's what I know. I may make 20 phone calls in a day, but I close 3 times the amount of business they do. Now, Bobby B, why do I close 3 times the amount of business on 20 phone calls that it takes them 80 phone calls?
Well, just listening to you, I'm thinking about the high energy level. You're very pleasant and outgoing just from right out the gate.
Right.
So that makes a difference.
How many of y'all think you're not selling insurance, you're selling energy? Raise your hand if you're selling energy versus insurance. Raise your hand.
Well, I like to think I'm selling insurance. I'm high energy too, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Without the energy, there ain't no selling of insurance.
Right.
Now, here's my point to you, to Bobby said. I'm 10 times more skilled at closing people than my salespeople are. So I can close 3 times the amount of business on 20 phone calls that it takes them 80 phone calls to make. Now, so you start saying, well, how do they get as good as me? Do they practice? Do they role play? Do they test? Does that make sense? Like over a long cycle of time, they'll get better. Now, what if we close? I love saying this in insurance business because I like taking complicated stuff and making it simple. If you closed just one more deal a day because you had great energy, great skills, build great rapport, followed the script, build momentum toward the close, lost any consideration and asked for the business. If you close just one more deal a day, 5 more deals a week, 20 more deals a month, you'd be closing 240 more deals a year. Now, I want you to do the math on how much more money you can make on 240 more deals a year. If you just closed one more deal a day. And to close one more deal a day, I'm going to ask you, it probably ain't knowledge of the product. You got a script in front of you. It probably, right? It's either skill of closing, which has to do with energy, momentum, building, right? Listening, building rapport, asking. Could be desire. Maybe you're not putting the effort in. Or it could be confidence. All right? Jim Eggman, which one is it for you? Is it skill, effort, or confidence?
Confidence is the most in my voice that I've tried to come across in listening to understanding.
Okay. If you close one, could you see yourself closing one more deal a day?
That's what I try, really.
All right. How do we move from trying to doing?
I got to keep putting it in. I mean, I have no excuse other than my heart attack in March. So my momentum is just wanes in the afternoon. I keep exercising in the mornings.
Good for you. Good for you. See, you got a success story right there. You come back and say, look, you know what? I even had a heart attack, come back, whipped everybody else. Good for you. Now, Ty, what about you? How could you close one more deal?
Well, it's really about time. Distractions. I got a lot of time, so I need more time on the phone. And that's be honest.
Good. Thank you for being honest. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that the word distraction, I'm glad you used that word, means to pull apart. That's what the word means. Distract, pull apart. The reason I like time periods, okay, remember the time system I just told you? The way we build momentum is we make 40 in the morning, 40 in the afternoon, but we do take a break. We go 9 to 11:30. We take a break. Okay. We eat lunch. We meet and get excited again. Then we go afternoon. But I tell them, man, if you hit a rock, take a break, change your environment, take a walk, move around, listen to something, get back in a flow, get back in a rhythm, bang it out. Right. And so, but here's the deal. At the end of the day, it's a percentage game. The number of calls you make, the number of people that are interested, how good your close ratios are. Everybody see that? So the skill piece comes in at the end of the day. All right. So let me close this out by saying this. Only you can make a decision if in the middle of the year you're going to fizzle out or you're going to find another gear. Only I can't make that decision for you. Only you. Now, some of you need a competition. Okay. I'm part of a healthcare company, and that's a product that I use to get in the shape I'm getting. I lost like 25 pounds. And so I'm part of this healthcare company, and they see a lot of potential in me to be one of their top people in the company. And they're sitting there showing me how much money I can make, right? The number one dude's making $4 million a year. And he's sitting there saying, Coach, it took me 10 years to get to $4 million a year, but you can get there in 2 years. And here's what I asked him. I said, I need a game to win. I need a challenge to activate my prey drive. I said, who is the fastest money earner in the history of the company? And how long did it take him or her to get there? And he said, oh, this one dude is earning this much money. It's a ridiculous amount of money, by the way. And he said he got there in 2.5 years. And I said, game on. I said, that's all I needed to hear right there. Because now I got a game to win. So I went home and told my wife, and I said, we about to find another gear, sweetheart.
Because Coach, is it Be Epic? I'm just curious. Is the company Be Epic?
No, it's not Be Epic. It's Optavia.
Optavia. Okay.
Optavia is the product I use to lose the weight. It's an eating plan. And
Be Epic, they have this little green pill I took the other day, and I got so much stuff done. I was like, oh my God.
Nice. Okay. I like the concept of it. Be epic. Okay. It's kind of like that movie, right? Now, when you think about it, here's the concept. Until he said that to me, it activated my drive. I'm sitting there going, yeah, I could do this. I know I can make money do it. I know I can be good at it, but I needed a challenge. I needed a game. And when he said that, I said, all right, it's on, man. I'm going to see if I can beat that dude. And I went home and I told my wife, I was like, we about to get real serious, sweetheart. And you know what she said? I'm in. Let's do it. Let's go. I'm serious too. She'd been trying to get me to get serious about it, but I needed something to flip the switch in me. You follow what I'm saying? Now I got my game. Now I got my focus. Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to take action. So for you, you may need a game. You may need a competition. You may need somebody to tell you that you ain't good enough to do it. You may need to get in a little friendly competition with somebody. I don't know what you need, but the biggest thing you need is to flip that switch. Okay. And I really specifically want you to focus on closing one more deal every day. I want to see you improve those close ratios. And the only way you're going to do that is have enough confidence that your confidence has got to be greater than their insecurity. And at that moment of truth today, guys, I want you to go for what will stop us from doing it right now. Let's go. Let's get you started. Let's get you going. Okay. You need that little push at the very end to get it across the finish line. Fair enough? All right. Listen, it's June. The year ain't over, guys. We got 6 more months. Some of you that started slow, here's the beauty. You can finish strong. Some of you that started strong, I'm going to challenge you here. Find another gear. Quit comparing yourself to who's the best in your company. Start comparing yourself to who the number 1 person in the world is. You start comparing yourself to the number 1 person in the world, I guarantee you we can find somebody that's producing at a high level. That's who I want to be compared to. If I brought them into Texas and brought you up and stood beside them, what would be different between the number 1 person in the world and you? That's a question you need to ask yourself every day. All right, let's have a good June, guys. Thank you for this time this morning. Good session. I'm Coach Michael Burt, and the number 1 book that I've written over the last couple of years that could help you during these unusual times is a book I wrote called Inside the Mind of a Monster. Now, I want to give you that book. All you have to do is text 678-506-7543. Because when you text that in, I'm going to give you a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. And it's going to show you the habits and mindsets of top producers and how they attack every single day versus play defense. Don't you want to play offense? Get this book. I'm giving it to you. And I'm telling you, I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature.